So I got the transmission out, and it made it a lot easier to not have to remove this top shifter support arm. If you do want to remove that while it's in the vehicle, you have to find a way to get your hand up here and unclip this top clip so you can get this pin out. To do that, there's a, let me tighten up the shot here. There's a clip here that you need to get some type of tool up around here to release this, and you have to pry it out towards the inside and then pry it up, because there's this little locking mechanism right here on this clip that grabs onto this edge of the transmission right here, so it kind of swivels down and locks into place. I don't know why they didn't put the locking piece of it on the outside. That would have made it so much easier to unclip when it's in the car. But I guess the way you could do it is they give you this little access panel here, this channel. So if I reclip it, if you can reach something down there that has a curved end on it, like a puller or something, and reach in here from the right hand side and unclip that, it's still going to be difficult, but at least I don't know if that's the reason they gave you this access point. There's probably a special tool that they use at the factory or at the dealership to get this out. But once it's out of the vehicle, obviously it's easy. You just pry it to the side a little bit and then pry it up, and then you can get this pin out right here just by pressing it to the side. And the reason you do this, you want to do this, is if you look at mine right here, I'll wiggle it back and forth. There's a ton of play in this part, and that's due to this. There's a bushing in here, and I'll show you in a second. And so I want to get that out and replace that while I have the transmission out. Press that pin to the side. You can reuse this part. There's nothing wrong with it. If it's got a lot of scoring or something, if it's really marred up here, and you can feel divots or scoring on it, this pin, then you can replace this. But I don't need to, and most likely you won't need to. What you do want to replace is in here, this bushing. Okay, in order to get the front bushing out, what I've got here is a 1/2 inch drive, a 3/4 socket, and a 3/8 socket that's a 1/4 drive. And so I'll basically press the 3/8 into the arm, and it'll push the bushing out into this 3/4 drive. And that's pretty easy, all there is to it. Now you can see the bushing came out, and it's ready to accept the new one. On the bottom here, on the other side of this, you can replace this inner sleeve right here, this white part that goes around the edge. You can also replace the whole shift if you want, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. You can feel it and see how much play you have in yours. I have a little bit of play in mine. Actually, the play that I'm feeling is up inside the shifter in here. Let me see if I can get that on camera. Right in here, I'm feeling some play back and forth. Okay, in order to get this ring out here, this plastic ring, if you look at the orientation of it, there's a little plastic nub sticking up here at the back, and also one at the front. Here's a better look at that plastic nub here at the front. You can see that part sticking up right there. and also the same thing at the back, which you can't see as clearly in this video, but it's right there, and it looks exactly like the one here at the front. So in order to get this out, what you need to do is basically, when you're looking at it from the top, you need to twist the whole thing clockwise. So you see it will move here as you're moving the shifter, but you can grab it from the side here. There are some access slots, one here and one on the other side. And so what you do is you grab it here and you push forward on this side and backwards on this side in order to twist this thing clockwise. See how it moved? You can do it again to move it even more. There we go. There we go. There. Once you got it about 90 degrees, you should be able to pop it straight up. I'm just going to bang on the bottom. I might need to turn it a little bit more. Give it a little whack with the mallet. Oh, actually it just popped right out. So yeah, once you get it turned far enough, it's about 90 degrees, it will pop right out. So now I can basically just pull off that inner ring, and that should slide over this bottom pivot point. Just gonna grab it and pull on it. There we go. So next I'm going to remove this rear bushing right here. That one just pulls straight off. There is an arrow at the top. You can see that arrow, and that basically it goes on the top and it points towards the front. And so you just pull that straight off. To remove the selector linkage at the front here, you just have to pry off this clip at the right hand side. It just takes a flathead screwdriver to do that. There's a plastic washer behind that, right there. And then you press this through, the pin through, and there's another plastic washer on the other side, so don't lose that unless you're going to replace them, which I recommend you do. Then you could set aside this linkage, and now you got to get off this piece right here, and to do that there's a pin going through the middle. I'm just going to show you how to get this off. I don't know that I'm going to replace mine. Feeling it, it feels like there's very little wobble in it or movement. So it feels like it's still pretty good. I'm going to take it off and inspect it. And to do that, there's a split ring here. It's split at the bottom. And you can kind of move that aside using just a flathead, a small flathead. So you kind of push that to the side. You gotta hold it off of this groove. There's a groove in here that ring sits in, so you kind of hold it out of it as you're prying it on the other side. And once you got the bottom of the ring out, you should be able to push this pin out. Let's get a smaller screwdriver. There you go. And so you give it a couple whacks and see that pin is coming out the bottom now. And so I can grab it with my fingers. Oh, I need to press it a little bit more. So that pin will come out right there. And then this piece can come off. And it is kind of grimy in there, some old grease and stuff, so I'll clean that out and put some new grease in there. And inspect the pin. You want to make sure the pin isn't scored too much. It feels nice and smooth. And then the pin should fit into the holes that it's received at tight. You should be able to push it in, but it shouldn't have a lot of slop. If it has a lot of slop, you can replace this whole piece, and I'd recommend you doing so. But mine feels pretty good, so I think I'm going to keep this. To install the new bushing for the shift linkage, you can just put it in between a vise and press it into place real easy. We'll prep the shift lever bushing by sliding it onto the ball here. Just put some lithium grease on it, and now you just have to press it, snap it into place.